A Jedi uses the Force for knowledge and defense, never to attack. That's the sage wisdom of Master Yoda and the essence of our Jedi Survivor challenge today. I've struggled a lot with Jedi Survivor in my previous no damage attempts, so I came up with a challenge to hopefully help improve my skills while still making the game much harder than normal. The Defense Master Challenge means I'm only allowed to perform any single attack after I pull off either a perfect dodge or break the enemy's stamina bar through the use of parries. I'm also allowed to parry blaster bolts back at any foe as well. For those of you who don't know, a perfect dodge is performed by staying in place and dodging an attack at the last moment, while parrying an attack requires blocking at the last moment as well. If their stamina bar is broken, I'm then allowed to attack as long as it's down or they're stunned. For perfect dodges, I'm only allowed to attack for the small moment after the perfect dodge and only one attack per dodge. And just for clarity, if multiple enemies get hit as I counterattack one, that's perfectly acceptable. If any of this is confusing, worry not. Just know I can't be aggressive, and my entire playthrough relies on my ability to master the game's defense system. Now with that explained, Grandmaster difficulty chosen, and a spoiler warning to all, let's go say hello there to everyone. We start the game off by immediately failing the challenge while breaking free of capture. Nice and short. But really, these are standard unskippable tutorial actions and are therefore not counted. The stormtroopers that very politely come in small groups instead of all at once are much easier to defeat, since their stamina bars are destroyed in merely a single parry. It's a bit harder to kill the scout troopers right after since they're much too preoccupied to notice me, and we just bond in silence together. That is, until they see me, and like most people throughout my life, immediately attack me. When I link up with my new friend Bode, he doesn't seem to grasp the idea of my challenge and loves to blow people up instead. I guess the true best defense is a friend who will be very aggressive in your place. When Bode and I are ambushed by the rudest security droid, I manage to pull off a nice deal of perfect dodges, but keep forgetting to attack right after, so it becomes an awkward fight of me staring at the droid, while Bode does the majority of the work. Not quite the first epic mini-boss of the game I was hoping for, but there's still plenty of time for that. In fact, right after, my team's ambushed by the Ninth Sister and the first true boss of the game commences. I'm very pleased to say that either Cal's way more powerful than the first game, or the Ninth Sister's way weaker, but the fight goes way better than my time in Fallen Order. Old Ninth over here makes very predictable attacks, and even in the second phase, when she begins to predict any attack I could make, it doesn't really mean anything, since I'm not allowed to attack her anyway. I didn't realize my true power of this run would be making my enemies feel extremely awkward with my unnerving staring and refusal to make the first move. Huh. You know, that's actually a perfect sum up of how I flirt as well. I nearly beat the Ninth on my first try, but after a hard slam leaves me near death, it doesn't take her long to finish the job. But hey, I'm the main character, so back I come to kick her butt on the second attempt. Sadly, the game forces me to finish the fight with a force power that parries any melee attack and instantly counterattacks. I guess since it's a parry, that's something, but it's not something I'll be doing again. I will keep the dual wield stance as I barely touched the last run, and I hear variety's the spice of life. Plus, it's the only stance that allows me to cancel my actions so that I can parry quickly, though I still have my first love, that is, the double-sided lightsaber, as no stance is better at mass reflecting tons of blaster bolts into those who fired them. It's just like Yoda said, the Force is never for attacking, but should you get attacked, it's great for filling whole graveyards with your enemies using their own weapons. I'm pretty sure that's what he meant anyways. With the Ninth Sister dead along with so many stormtroopers, we escape Coruscant and make our way to Kobo for repairs to our ship. This Outer Rim planet is home to our friend Grease, but also to tons of raiders and their reprogrammed battle droids. Sure, they're great at trying to kill me, but sometimes it can be nice to just lay back and enjoy nature with them. Nice and peaceful. Till they inevitably try to kill me, but still. While exploring the planet, I quickly find that while the raiders and droids are no trouble, the giant beasts are much more problematic. Parrying them is much harder and practically worthless, and while they're easy to dodge, perfect dodging is another matter and much tougher to get a hang of. I wanted to come out here and get in touch with nature, not to be touched painfully by nature, and when I do finally get the hang of it, it's a very slow process, since I do very little damage to their hardy hides. At least I can take comfort in the fact that exploring the raider-infested areas is so much easier this run, as all I have to do is deflect everything back at them, and can just tank anything they deal out. For the most part anyways. When I reach Pyloon Saloon, the mini-boss fight that ensues goes less than splendid, but thankfully with both of us near dead, I managed to pull off one last parry combo, and end the fight victorious. I then have a touching reunion with Grease and take one of the very few chances to sleep in a bed. I do specify in a bed because whenever I meditate, I can rest. And I have to assume no matter how hectic the situation's becoming, Cal's just snoozing away his worries, which he sure has plenty of when he discovers a trap droid from the High Republic named Z, and after rescuing her, learns about Tanalorr, a gorgeous, mysterious planet locked behind a great space abyss, whatever that is, and the whole goal of basically everyone's in the game. Sounds like a perfect place to hide from the Empire, so onwards to figure out how to get there. But first, it's time to go die a ton. I know a Rancor is just vibing in this cave, and I guess the true defensive path would be to not invade his home. But where's the fun in that? The thing is, like most large beasts, parrying is basically worthless for me, so I have to resort to perfect dodges. That is, if I'm not just eaten in one go, or crushed by rubble, or crushed by giant fists. Just a lot of crushing that I'd prefer to avoid. I only know how to perfectly dodge a couple of his strikes, and have to keep avoiding all the others till he uses them. This means that most visits to his lair ended pretty badly, quickly giving him an easy snack, but any that lasted would take quite a while to get anywhere. Really rends my soul when I nearly beat him after a bit, but managed to die to the very move I've been perfectly dodging over and over for nearly an hour by now. In my final attempt, it would take me 14 continuous minutes to wear his health down low enough for the Rancor to become stunned and taken down in one epic final strike. It was all worth it though for that shatter perk, which makes it so my attacks break blocks faster, which is absolutely worthless to me since I can't attack that way. If that wasn't worth painfully dying 46 times for, I don't know what is. If I thought the Rancor was bad, well, okay, the next piece isn't nearly as deadly, but they're quite annoying. These Bioma dot the path that I need to take to find out how to reach Tanalorr, and they make me question if it's truly worth it. Like most beasts, parrying is not a good way to go with them, and dodging is both difficult and has rare opportunities. Plus, it's like my attacks do as much damage as an aggressive tickle. And if they're not bad enough, I also have to deal with shielded scout troopers. Between the shielded soldiers and the beast, I've come to realize that I've effectively turned easy fights when I can be aggressive into each being a proper mini-boss with my defense-only option. After dying repeatedly to this Bioma, I finally began to get the hang of it. But I guess she didn't like that much, as she chose to become one with the Force and vanish mid-fight. Not sure if that qualifies as a win, but I got the experience and I'm still alive, so I'll take it. At least fighting the Mogu, aka Jungle Wampas, goes much better. These guys may hit hard, but have very obvious perfect dodge windows that actually make me feel like I'm better at the game than I am. Funny enough, the true beast I almost fear more than any others is around here too, and that would be the Quokka. These little chicken dodo creatures are incredibly easy to kill. In a normal playthrough, or basically any other kind than this challenge. While easy to dodge in general, it's also really easy to get hit by their one-hit kill charges when trying to perfect dodge them. Which I'd recommend not trying. It's a good, yet embarrassing way to end your Jedi career. Finally making it past all the beasts, I've reached the Bacta tank holding Dag and Gera. Mr. Angry here has been asleep for the last 200 years, but he's a fellow of tremendous focus, and now that he's awake again, gets right back to his initial goal of reaching Tanalorr, even if it means wiping out everyone in his way. Cal happens to be one of those people, so into a boss fight we go. Dagon is a blessing to me as someone who's been stuck not being able to parry much lately, and he's much simpler to parry and break his block. Doesn't change that he still loves to send me to the Shadow Realm with a few slashes of his saber, even killing me twice in a row when I'm only a couple hits from winning, but it doesn't take that long in general to end his threat. And by that I of course mean, watch as he escapes to begin a new reign of terror. What a lovely guy. Great hair, and he managed to stay in shape despite 200 years of just floating in some goo. Too bad about all the narcissism and trying to kill me right away, but other than that, lovely guy. Before heading back to the outpost, I hang out with a Mogu who's just meditating in the sun, and I really feel like he's having quite the existential crisis going on inside his head. Maybe he's working through some things about his place in this great big galaxy. When I try to ask him, he's naturally defensive as most people are about such things, and when I come back, I find him now just basking in the sun, so I head off without disturbing his relaxation. I'm wishing him good vibes though, for sure. Needing more information about Tanalorr, I head to Jeddah to meet up with Seer, Cal's old master. I panic when I come across a flame trooper, but other than that, things go pretty well. For the flame trooper, I realize waiting for his attack to finish and then running up to him so he'd try to melee me is the only way I can kill him, but it works. When the path is blocked by 2 flame troopers, preventing me from using the same trick, I simply use the greatest skill of all to win, running right by them and continuing on my way. When I'm ambushed yet again by a bunch of Imperials, another of Cal's old friends appears. Marin, here to save the day and be super cool. Though just like Bode, she doesn't get this challenge and keeps killing everyone before I can do anything. I really mean it. This entire trip to Jeddah is me trying to get people to attack me so I can dodge or parry them before Marin effectively kills them first. Even the mini-boss against Mr. Giant Scorpion here is all thanks to Marin's help, as is the ATST battle right after, but at least I could help her along the way. I'm starting to think Marin is the main character, and I'm just the companion, and frankly, I don't mind that at all. Finally, at Seer's Hidden Sanctuary, we learn that we need to go back to Kobo for the information we're after. So back to Kobo I go. But not for the information on Tanalorr, no. But to instead get killed by this giant toad, over, and over, and over, and over. Why am I doing this to myself, you might ask? Because there's a large part of my brain that lives and dies by one simple phrase. I'm sure this time I can do it. And no matter how many times I fail, that phrase keeps me going. After fighting for nearly an hour and a half and barely ever making much progress thanks to the toad's lunging bite, I finally decided to let the toad be. I mean, I killed its parent in the last game. What kind of monster would kill it here too? Feels cruel. That's why I'm leaving. Not because I suck at fighting it. Yeah, that's it. Instead, I go to get ambushed by a bounty hunter, whom, if you've seen my no damage attempts, know I have a very, very large grudge against and have been looking forward to fighting. I power through his grenades and deflect all his bolts right back at him till he goes down, and I can feel a little bit of peace return to my soul. Right after, I'm attacked by a big beastie, but when he accidentally falls off the side, I follow him down, and I learn the big guy's just territorial. I was invading his territory after all, so now that we're out of there, he's friendly. I'm just happy to finally have a friend. Oh my god, no! He had a heart attack and fell off. I'm coming, man. I won't leave you. Sadly, the universe wasn't having it, and I had to leave my new best friend forever. I then spent half an hour in a force vision dying to a bunch of quokkas before coming out to die a couple times to a lightsaber-wielding raider. Thankfully, the hardened raider was much easier to beat than the evil charging chicken. With the research gained, I made my way to the Shattered Moon, took down a bunch of raiders, and actually flew right through most of the fights here. Helps that I got stuck here for hours on my no damage run, so this was oh so much easier to do this time around. Even this lightsaber raider boss went down first try with my tried and true deflect all the bolts back at him tactic. And now I have the crossguard saber, which I absolutely refuse to use in my no damage run, but it's absolutely vital for this run. Making it back to Jedi, I use its large damage output and heavy defense abilities to easily take down security droids and beasts alike. So when I come across a scorpion tearing troopers apart, things get real weird when it vanishes and the one surviving trooper appears to have lost his mind. You right, bud? Walk slowly forward while also not moving if you're perfectly fine and don't need my help. Well, alright then. See you later. It really didn't take long to help save some refugees from an Imperial attack, especially when Marin showed up to help, and shortly after, I was once again on my way to Kobo. I break into the Raiders' giant ship, and these go pretty well overall. I do want to file a complaint against their HR department, though, as this poor droideka is trapped at the bottom of these stairs and has no way to pursue me. They might be bloodthirsty raiders, but they should make the whole death trap-filled ship accessible for all their hardworking droids. Fighting my way through the ship, I nearly die when we're ambushed by waves of enemies, but I very bravely run in circles till Bode manages to kill them all. Man, my heroism surprises even me. Finally reaching Z, who we're here to rescue, I'm attacked yet again by Dagan Gera. Since I fought him oh so much in my no damage run, I was highly prepared for him, and while only able to get him halfway before dying on my first attempt, I was able to fully take him down on my second. Sure, I only have half of his moves fully understood, and I'm terrified of his other half, but that's what running away till the right moment is for. With his defeat, he flees yet again with that glorious hair of his, and I find my way to 2 Mogu relaxing in the nearby swamp. They're just vibing, and I don't want to ruin that, especially since I'm certain I can't beat both of them, one being a boss at the same time, but I want the healing stem chest they're guarding. Thankfully, slowly walking behind the patrolling Mogu makes it really easy to grab the chest without a fight, though I think they'll definitely notice me halfway through grabbing it. Least they have the decency to wait for me to finish taking it before attacking. But I'm out of there right away, and clearly they can't wait to get back to relaxing. Very chill Mogu for sure. Making my way back to the moon, I get into a fight with a ton of raiders, far too many for my defensive, unskilled self to handle in a straight-up fight. But thankfully, they're none too bright, and it isn't hard to trick them bit by bit to stand at the death beam that keeps firing, vaporizing them. You think watching me do it to their teammates repeatedly would keep them from making the same mistake. But nope. Very helpful. I've now reached Ravis, the Raider leader, and a Gendai, a powerful species capable of regenerating from practically anything. Ravis is a very fun, but also very challenging boss fight, and I've already spent tons of hours fighting him in my last run, so I felt confident my same strategies would work here, albeit slower. That means easily handling his first, much more predictable phase with strong dodge work and saber play, and then fully resorting to deflecting blaster fire in his second. But you know how I mentioned his species regenerates health? I thought that just meant when his first health bar was gone, he gained a second. No. My unobservant stupidity meant I never realized if he doesn't continuously take damage, he heals up on his second health bar. Being terrified of his fast combo attacks, I've just resorted to blaster deflection, but he's healing it all back before I get a chance to deflect again. Well, this sucks. Darn you, you giant healing grape. This means I actually have to get some skill for once and learn how to parry and dodge his fast, hard-hitting combos. It takes a good deal of time and lots of visits to the grave, but finally, after 6 hours of combat, I managed to beat him. I will never be able to pull that off a second time, but heck, all I needed was one. With Ravis dead, I now know where Dagongera is, and so I race off to fight him as well. Only problem is an Imperial outpost between me and him, and I don't feel I'm exaggerating here. It's hell. Hell would actually be a nice place to cool down after this place. This Imperial outpost sends waves of enemies, most of which are simple to deal with, but ends with two extremely dangerous, highly annoying DT Imperial droids. And I'm fairly sure the DT stands for death time, because that's exactly what happens every time I go up against these things. After being stuck for quite a while, I finally managed to destroy one of them with ease by using the other droid's poor rocket targeting system to do it for me. Only problem is I end up dying to that one a split second before I can finish the job. When I finally get through those guys, I go up against more of Dagon's raiders, but they aren't too difficult, especially these droidicas. I'm not sure the raiders did a very good job reprogramming them, but I like them more this way. Some say they're still rolling back and forth to this very day. It doesn't take long to clear out the rest of Dagon's people. I mean, for Bode, I'm far too much of a coward on very low health to deal with them myself. Finally reaching Dagongera for the third time, I was prepared to kick him into dust as I've already spent 5.5 hours fighting him in my no damage run. And I do just that. That is till I reach his third phase at the 50% of his health left marker, where he does the truly unbearable, summoning clones of himself. These guys go down in one hit, which makes them quite simple to handle if I could attack. But they also spam the half of Dagon's moves that I've never gotten the hang of, so getting rid of them is a nightmare. Over and over again, I beat Dagon to his third phase, and they get completely demolished by his clones. By now, I fully rely on the high defense, high damage of the crossguard stance, and also recognize I need to find a way to learn how to parry properly on his much faster combos. This learning process is not an easy one at all, and down I go, faster and faster. But finally, after hours, I begin to get the hang of it. Not enough to stop me from dying horribly, but more and more, I manage to break his block and make slow headway. I also rely on the much faster dual-wielding system and slow power to take out his clones whenever they appear. These tactics allow me to almost win at the 3-hour mark, and then almost win again at the 5-hour mark, before I finally do win at the 6-hour mark. At this point, I've spent so much time with Ravis and Dagongera that they might as well be my best friends by now. It might be the Stockholm Syndrome talking, but other than murdering me and others tons of times, and being just generally sucky, are they really so bad? While I wonder that, Cal finishes off Dagon and the game finally ends. No, not really. Dagon wasn't the true big boss of the game after all. It's time for the big spoilers, so clear out if you're not ready for that. With Dagon dead, Bode, my buddy throughout the game, doesn't want the game to get boring without any big foe, so he elects himself as the new big boss. He starts this off by killing my Jedi friend Cordova and sicking the Empire on our hidden base while he himself makes off with the key to getting to Tanalorr. He's also another Jedi survivor. Thing is, Bode, this game is called Jedi Survivor, not Jedi Survivors. So, there can only be one. And I guess that one is gonna be him, because he instantly beats me. which instead of me dying, triggers a cutscene where Cal falls quite far and takes a little nappy nap. Wow. This is why before all this started, I stared at Bode for quite a while to get him to not betray us all. But apparently, staring daggers at someone for 10 minutes straight without saying a word does not stop that kind of thing. While Cal sleeps, I play as his ultra powerful master Seer and easily take down hordes of Imperials. Only thing is, when holding off multiple ATSDs, I get very confused on what to do, and so it seems, do the Imperials. I'm an inch away from death, but the walkers don't fire at me, which does keep me from dying, but also keeps me from being able to damage them. At least the Anchorites, my allies here, just keep popping up to fire at the walkers, and very, very slowly destroy them. Helps that the walkers aren't even firing at them, they're literally just firing at empty space. When both walkers finally fall from my allies' blasters, I realize I was supposed to pull the ceiling down at them a while ago. Oops. This works too. As Seer removes key information the Empire is here for, she chooses not to flee right away when in walks the juggernaut, that is Vader. I, on the other hand, am more than willing to. Oh my god, let me out! Let me out! He's Vader! I'm so very dead. Unfortunately, the game wasn't having it, but Vader did give me a kindness by killing me quickly. When I respawn, I choose not to be an idiot, instead closing the door to Vader's boss fight and fleeing the opposite direction. How stupid do they think I am? Sadly, the ship out of here is gone, so I guess with nothing better to do, might as well go die. Vader at least is a real gracious guest and keeps making it quick. But in all actuality, while Vader hits incredibly hard, all his moves have a super large parry window, and it doesn't really take that long to beat him. He seems to be a much more fun boss fight than a hard one. Terrifying for sure, though. Finally getting his health down fully, Seer kills Vader, and Star Wars is changed forever. No, not really, but that would have been something. Impaled by Vader, Seer dies in Cal's arms, while Vader limps away. Yeah, you better run, you big terrifying force of nature, you. It really is heartbreaking, though, as the light in their lives have been snuffed out so suddenly, and by someone they trusted. So let's go break Bode's knees, am I right? I just want to share this line from Grease, because I love it so much, and it feels appropriate to what I do with these challenges.
It's on him. We all know it's a rigged game, but we choose how to play.
And this next part does feel a bit rigged for sure. Tracking down Bode to an Imperial security outpost, I'm pitted against tons of hard fights throughout the station. After I find Bode, I learn that while he was a Jedi, after Order 66, he gained a wife and a child named Kata. His wife was killed by the Inquisitors, and so he cut a deal with the Imperials to protect his daughter. Tanalorr was his way out of it, but Cal wanting to help refugees hide there doesn't work for Bode, which is why he betrayed us. I chase after him, facing huge waves of Imperials, and this is where the game expects me to use the dark side to brutalize my way through. But being that's aggressive and a little bit mean, I have to stick to the light side and play very carefully with lots of blaster deflection to win. Quite a few deaths occur here as I struggle to handle such an onslaught of Imperials, and when I'm almost out, it only gets worse as I'm attacked by 8 DT Imperial droids. I struggle with just one of these. And while I do have Merrin to help me, it's obvious they want me to use the dark side to win this. That's not gonna happen, and death continues to take me time and time again. This final section took me 2 hours to get through, as the game truly insisted that I use the dark side to win. But the light prevails when I finally resort to running in circles for 15 minutes straight, while Merrin heroically takes down all the menacing droids. She really is the true hero of this story. With that done, surely it can't go hellish right away again, right? Wrong! As I try and find a different way to Tanalorr, I'm ambushed by more waves of Imperials, this time without Merrin around to help, and I have to struggle to defeat them. I gotta say that this area really felt like they were trying to break my spirit, but I suppose if I used the dark side, it wouldn't have been that hard. What a nice in-game way to turn me evil. At long last, with all that done, we're off to Tanalorr. It's here we meet Kata again, who likes us, but hates being stuck on this lonely, dark planet. So killing her dad in front of her at least will have a bright spot, I suppose, when she gets to leave the planet. Cal and Merrin do offer Bode peace, but he's gone full crazy, as is evident by his evil laughter in the fight. That's never a good sign. Bode's fight is actually not too difficult, surprisingly. The crossguard stance means any shots he sends my way get supercharged right back at him, and that accounts for a good deal of his damage, however slow. Though I do find it a bit cheap when he kills me with the power of a glitch, but maybe that's just the unnatural power of the dark side, right? Sadly, getting him to about 40% health, Cal ends up breaking Bode's blasters when he lets the dark side in. Which, come on, Cal. Really? My whole strategy relied on those. Bode becomes far more aggressive at this point, taking me down pretty quickly, but I've learned a valuable key tactic. While most of his third phase attacks terrify me and I have no idea what to do but dodge, one of them is different. He force pulls me in, and after an easy, perfect dodge, Bode is easy to strike despite the fact that he attacks again. But that second attack seems to always magically miss me. So after doing this same move 22 times in a row, avoiding all his other moves and waiting for that one key moment, I'm able to defeat Bode, effectively beating the game. It's too bad Bode refused to surrender, but I did promise him that this game was called Jedi Survivor so that there can only be one. And that's definitely the case as Cal mournfully looks at the funeral pyres of the other 3 Jedi. And with Dagan Gera dead as well, that does make Cal the reigning Jedi Survivor. He doesn't seem too happy about it though. But we can at least say, huzzah! After 49 hours and 49 minutes with a total of 438 deaths, we've beaten Jedi Survivor as a defense master. I truly do love this game, even if it takes me past the brink of insanity over and over, and I really enjoyed this challenge, though I'm not sure I got any better because of it. Still fun. I hope you all enjoyed it as well. Now go find a sanctuary of your own perhaps, but don't be like Bode. Remember to share. See you later, friends.